Tabletop RPG rulebooks and systems can seem big and intimidating. On Too Long Didn't Play, we break down the seemingly complex content of tabletop RPGs in about 5 minutes so that you can decide if you want to check a system out in more detail. Your small party crests the hill with the rubble of the Doomlord's tower at your back. Your bodies carry the marks of the journey so far and of the dangers you've faced, but it's the invisible weight on your shoulders that you don't know if you can bear. The land before you is familiar since you passed this way before, but there are stark changes to the landscape from the battle. Landmarks have been destroyed, people have been displaced, but there are also small seeds of hope that are starting to push their way up through the wounded earth. The shepherd puts his weight on their staff, and the wayfarer gazes into the distance looking for a path, while the volunteer cracks an unsure joke about needing a good meal. Scars earned, burdens shouldered, it's time to go. Home is calling you, back again from the broken land. Back Again from the Broken Land is a terrifically Tolkien-esque tabletop tale-telling game by Alexi and Leah Sargent of Cloven Pine Games. In Back Again, you take on the role of small heroes that have just played some part in defeating the Doomlord and are dealing with the personal and provincial impact. You create your character by simply selecting one of the 6 playbooks that give you your stats, a special move that only you can do, and a few items to choose from for your gear, your gift, and your gaze. This helps shape your character and gives you hints to how your character may have weathered the journey so far. Will you be the shepherd who can rally the flock around them with a tattered cloak and a weary gaze, or the bodyguard with leather armor and the softest boots, or will you be the turncoat with a wound that won't heal and a draught that you can't drink dry, and a few extra burdens? Your playbook tells you the amount of unnamed burdens that you start with, but we'll come back to those in a minute. Once you pick your character, the GM will ask you and your companions a series of questions to establish who the Doomlord was, what powers they wielded, the forces at their command, and how they were defeated. And maybe most importantly, what the home that you're trying to get back to is like. Then once you define the home you came from, you can start to tell the tale of your journey back. Back Again is a PBTA or Powered by the Apocalypse system, which means that for the most part, you just narrate what your character is doing in order to trigger moves. There are 2 sets of moves in Back Again, Homeward Bound moves and Peril moves. The Homeward Bound moves help you describe, navigate, and explore the world around you as you make your way back home. They also help you as you move through play to name and resolve the mostly emotional, but sometimes physical burdens you're carrying, if you roll well. Like in most PBTA games, many of the moves have you roll 2 6-sided dice and add your stat when you trigger them. A 10 or higher is a success, a 7 to 9 is a mixed success, and a 6 or less is a failure. And Back Again, when you fail, you often take on a new unnamed burden. So let's get back to those. This game is beautiful, evocative, and sensory rich. It's a storytelling game about dealing with the fallout of war and the impact of a harrowing journey on common folk. Every character is talking and thinking about, naming, and dealing with their own baggage from that journey, but they're doing it within the context of a group of companions. Anytime your character does something significant in this game, there's an opportunity to recall how that action may remind them of their burdens. It's up to the players to work together with each other to establish what those might be. When you gaze at the Sapphire Bridge, do you remember the companion that you lost there on the way in? Or as you deal with the obstacle of navigating a giant patch of gourds that are oozing blood-colored sap, does that trigger a memory of the pumpkin farms from your home? Anytime you make a move on this journey, you can take the opportunity to name a burden. And sometimes, even over a simple meal with friends on the road, you can experience catharsis and clear those burdens. During our actual play live stream with Alexi, the meals our fellowship ate would leave the players on the verge of tears as we narrated how the different lands we were traveling through and the memories we were exploring meant something to us. When this would happen, the chat would explode with an expressed desire for that kind of catharsis over a meal. But the road isn't all about recalling memories, naming wounds, and having a life-shattering plate of eggs and berries. When danger looms and the Doom Lord's remaining forces close in on you, you have 3 options: run, hide, or make a desperate stand. The first 2 are pretty self-explanatory, but just to be clear, there is no attack or hack and slash move in this game. You and your companions are weak, and a desperate stand means one of your characters is going to make a sacrifice for the party. I have yet to play a Cloven Pine game that I don't love. The way that Leah and Alexi build narrative elements, motifs, and vibrant sensory detail into the root of play is a hallmark in their design. I also think it's amazing how Back Again is focused on the part of narrative play that no other game I know of does. Almost every other game focuses on the first half of the hero's journey, the call to adventure, growing in power, and facing evil. But I know of no other game that skips all that and jumps straight to the journey home. It's the part of the story that we never get to explore, and in all honesty, it's the most transformative. So when you round the final bend and see your simple village laid out ahead of you, some of you have dealt with your burden, some of you are still holding onto them, and some of you have tried to ignore them. Also, some of you didn't make it home. My favorite part of Back Again was narrating the epilogue, where our characters would unfold what their lives looked like after the journey. Depending on the wounds that you have at the end, it shapes what your epilogue looks like. But this was the breaking point for most of our players in our one-shot as we tearily talked through the joys and sorrows of our characters as the years stretched on. So if you think you might enjoy a storytelling game focused not on the fight but on the fallout, or sharing memories over a hot plate of turtle cakes and otter cheese, if you're ready to shoulder, name, and clear your burdens, then I would invite you to take a journey back again from the Broken Land. Thanks for watching. I'm Tony Vasinda, Chief Alchemist over at Plus One Exp, where we multi-class in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. If you have thoughts about Back Again from the Broken Land, or if there's a system you want to know more about but don't have the time to learn, let us know in the comments below or at Plus One Exp on any social media platform. And remember, if you want more content like this, ring the bell to let us know that the heroes have arrived home, and it's time to celebrate.